Good morning Instagram, good morning Facebook, good morning YouTube, and good morning into my free group. Let me just pop my free group on here. Let's see if I can see us. There we are, I think I'm live in all of these places. Good morning Kim, good morning Sue. Sorry if I'm a bit too close this morning. I'm just trying to get all these groups set up. I shall be with you in a second. Here we are. There we go, turn me down. Let's turn me down, shall we? So how are you? Are you all ready for some spinal and hip mobility this morning? If you get up in the morning and you're feeling a little bit stiff, then this might be for you. We've got some lovely music on. How are we? Good morning, good morning. If you're coming in on Facebook, then please do say good morning. And if you're coming in on Instagram, say good morning. And if you're in my free group, say good morning. Good morning, Karen. Morning, Vicky. Morning, Kathy. I think I'm here. I'm here. Good morning. Right, we're going to get going straight away. So this is for tight backs. A lot of people hold their tension either in the lumbar spine, and that's because we generally stand like that, or in the upper back, where we've got lots of tension and we raise our shoulders, and in the obliques slightly as well. So we're going to work into the hips and the spine. Let's get going. Good morning, Kathy. Oh, thank you for the stars, Debbie. You're very, very kind. And thanks, Mel. Good morning, Mel. Right, so hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. A nice deep breath. So you're thinking about your abdominal wall, and we want to draw the abdominal wall up towards the back before we start this. So the best way to do that is to take a nice deep breath in. Good morning, Alison. And as you exhale, pull your belly button up towards your spine. So you're trying to draw your abdominal wall up towards your back, but you're not arching your back as you do that. So you're pulling in nice and tight. Morning, Karen. And then you're trying to bring your scapula here together. And a good way to do that one is to bring the elbows and then draw them in. So that will draw your scapula down your back and bring the shoulder blades together, which in turn will help to fire up the core. So we're here. And now we're just going to arch the back into a calf stretch. So we're going for 4. 1, 2, drop your head, chin to your chest, and then come through to a neutral spine. You're not allowing your back to arch yet. 1 more. So this would be the level 1. So here you're just coming right up. And if you're a lady doing this, you imagine somewhere where your bra strap is. So somebody lifting that bra strap up, you're separating your shoulder blades, you're dropping your chin, and then you're coming back. Good. Now do 1 more at that speed. And again, good morning, Nicola. Do say hello, girls, if you're joining in. Let me know how you feel when you've done this. Good. Now let's just speed that up slightly. So when you're coming back, you're only going head in line with spine. So we're here into a neutral spine, so your back is going to where it wants to naturally. You're separating. Now watch the back. As I come back down, I'm going to hyperextend. So I'm sticking my bum out and arching my back. Down, lift. So this is taking my back through a deeper range of motion now, and it's causing a little bit of compression into the lumbar spine, into the lower back, because I'm arching my back and sticking my bum out, dropping my head and then lifting. So we're down, down, and lift, lift. So this is waking up that spine, separating the shoulder blade, separating the vertebra. Here we are. Good. Now just come into a neutral spine and then lift the leg and circle and down. So this is for your hips. So your body weight will naturally want to move to one side. Allow it to do what it wants to naturally here. We're just circling the hips round, and you're not dropping your head now. Your head's in line with your spine. So this is very gentle. 1 more, and then just change sides. So you circle round as high as you can and tap. And you should feel that your glutes fire up a little bit here. So people that have stiffness generally through the hips are the people that have to work and sit a lot. So once you sit, if you do a lot of driving or a lot of desk work, your hip flexors will shorten. That in turn eventually can cause some lower back problems as the pelvis starts to move. Good. Now right knee, just draw it into your elbow. So just draw it in and out, and in and then down. So now this is more mobility here. And down. 2 more of those. So you could repeat these depending on how much time you've got in the morning. You could just do a couple. You only need to take 2 or 3 minutes. Good. Now knees in, and then just rock your hips from side to side. And again, very, very gentle. If this is the first thing that you're doing in the morning, we've already done a massive big class this morning, so this is nice to finish. So just rock the hips and allow the hips to move freely. Now let's go back to the cat stretch. Just 2 of these. Lift up, chin down. And then we're going to stretch into the waist in a minute. As you lift your head, you should feel a lengthening into the abdominals. Now come back through to centre. Pull your core up tight again, draw the shoulders back and down, and then just take one leg and take it as far across the body as you can to the ground. And then we're going to turn to look at that foot, and you should feel a lovely stretch in the side of the body. So into the obliques, into this side here, is where you should feel it. You could push down through the heel of the opposite hand to help with the rotation. So it's kind of a rotation and a flexion. Good, and bring it back. Other side, so you're down, and then you lift that leg as far away as you can. Push down through the opposite heel of the hand, and you turn and you look down. Can you feel that stretch? I'd love some feedback if you're actually doing any of these, or if you just sat there nicely with your morning cup of tea. Let me know what you think. Good, so we're going to do that into a pattern. Good morning, Ange. So we're going up, we turn round, round, come back, draw back, and in. So you extend and wait. Your shoulders are back, you turn, you come back, slide back. So these are just ideas for you. Should you feel in the morning either your spine, your obliques, your back, lower back, or your hips. So as you extend the leg, you're extending the hip. You'll get a slight stretch in your hip, more in your waist. Good. And then round and down. Now just come onto your bottom. So again, you could repeat these depending on where you feel tight. So we're going into a 90-90 position if you feel comfortable with it like this. So you've got one knee forward, one knee back. And then we're just holding the body weight forward. And we're going to separate the shoulder blades. Push your palms to me. Lift up high. And circle. So upper back and thoracic spine now. Separate. Push, drop down. Lift up. And round. And again. One, two, good morning. 3, 4, 5, 6. Now bring your arms forward, clasp them together and add rotation. Now you see one side you'll only go so far, and then the other side you might go a little bit further because of the leg pattern. 2 more. So the shoulders, depress them, shoulders away. 1 more. Good. Now take the arms separate and right arm goes round, a bit further and left. So really rotate through the spine now. Spinal rotation is what you need to keep the spine flexible. Now take your right hand down by your side and lift it over and round and over and round. So at the minute we're not doing any forward flexion. It's very, very slight from here. We just round that back. And when you do the rounding bit, you should feel a stretch in the back on the same side as the arm. So again, it's lats here and trapezius. 2 more. Reach. Round. So this time just reach and hold. reach and hold. Now some of your flexibility will be limited, so some of us will go to here, some of us will be able to bend a little bit, and if you're really flexible and you can come all the way over, you'll feel it a lot further down into the spine. But again, you've just got to work with what you have and watch yourself progress with your flexibility and your mobility, and come forward and then change sides. So change your foot pattern, your leg pattern. If this is uncomfortable, you could do it with your legs out front, or you could do it with your knees, your feet, legs crossed. Are we ready? Back of the hand to me. Let's go. So you separate your shoulders, drop your chin. Press your palms to me, drop your shoulders. Lift high, lift the ribs, and circle. 3 more. Separate shoulders, upper back. Chin down into the spine. Lift up, stretch through the core, and round. 2 more like that. Oh, that's not very relaxing, is it? Keep going, and round. 1 more. Oh. Good. And then bring the hands together. Here, we add rotation. 2 to do. 2. And centre. Shoulders back. Oh, you try and be really professional, don't you? And then it all goes pear-shaped, if you're me. 1 more. Good. Now separate the hands, rotate further round, come through to centre. Now, whilst you're doing all of these, if you can, and I know it's a lot to think about if you're new to exercise, or if these are new exercises for you, try and think about your core all the time. Try and fire up those abdominal muscles. Nice deep breaths. Now hand to the floor, we reach, we circle round, reach over the top. So think bicep by your ear. That's it, and you'll probably find that you're better one side than the other side, and then that will give you something to work with. Core tight. 2 more. 1 more. Good. Hold it across this time, and again, gauge your own flexibility. So some may be here, you want to try and get that arm by your ear, and then we're over the top. Extend, down if you can, lower if possible. If this means that you're coming forward, you're much better coming up higher and getting the form right first. And I know I mentioned this a lot, but your form, whatever you're doing, maybe it's weights, cardio, whatever type of exercise you do, you always want to think about your form being best first before you do the repetitions or the speed. Right, let's just move into our hips. So bring one leg forward. Now this one, you want to make sure that the knee is over the ankle or a little bit further back. What you don't want is that. There's just too much load going through the front of the leg. So here we are, and then we're going to go into what's called a Straggler Stretch. So you're pushing that hip, this hip flexor here on my back leg is lengthening. Your hip flexors are ever so small and very, very strong. They go short, short, short as you sit. So you need to lengthen them, so you push the hips down. Now if you're able to, you squeeze the glute on that same side. So squeeze through the glute, and that will allow, if you contract one muscle, the muscles that's opposite it has to relax to allow the contraction. So if you're squeezing your bottom, your hip flexor then relaxes and you can go a little bit deeper into the stretch. And now if you're able, you can come further down. You keep your chest and your head lifted and your shoulders drawn back and down. And then if you want to increase the intensity of this stretch, you can turn your toe under and you can extend. And this way, if you push into your heel, you'll also get a stretch into the calf. But again, some of you might be here for a few weeks, just depends how we are. Good. Hold the stretch. So I wouldn't ever do any ballistic stretching, like bouncy stretching here. Nice and still. And you'll probably find when you come out of this stretch, you'll feel a bit stiff. So just come back, go forward, and again if you can't reach the floor you could do this one here, and then you're back. This This is fantastic for these hips. And you think about your hip flexor being small. If you're contracting it by sitting, it's going shorter, shorter, shorter. Eventually the pelvis will be affected and then into your lower back. One more. Now bring your hands down to the side and change legs. So as you come out of that, you might feel as you bring this leg forward, the one that's just stretched and now it's shortening, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable. Not doing you any harm, it's doing you some good. So push your hip forward. So think about this tighten, this lengthens. If you can squeeze that, you're going to go further down into the stretch. Hold. Push down. And let me know your thoughts if you need any help. I'm going to do a mobility week next week on my business page. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, we'll be working on mobility of different areas and all through the body. If you want to, you could turn the toe underneath, you could extend the stretch, you could squeeze your thigh, squeeze your glute, push your hip down. What you don't want is hyperextension here. You want to keep that back nice and flat. Good. And then knee down, and we sit back, and we're forward. So if you've got any questions about anything, or you want to join us in a mobility session, we're going to put some on next week, then just let me know. If you want to join my low impact, I've got a beginners fitness starting next week, 4-week block. Week 1 we've got 2 classes, week 2 we've got 2 classes, week 3 and 4 we've got 1 class each, which allows you to catch up then. Hands in. Now this time I want you to bring your toes under and uncurl, but very slowly, head down. So think about now your head being low, and then as you come up, think about each vertebra stacking back on top of one another to bring you up to full extension. Good, and then you balance your head back on the top of your spine. And we just want to do one more to finish. So take a breath. Exhale, tighten your thighs slightly, pull your core in tight, lift your ribs, and then round your back, go all the way down. So separate, separate, separate. Chin towards your chest, arms are floppy and heavy. So all this is extra weight for this spine. As you come down, you should feel it pulling, like pulling the lower back, depending on the tightness, all the way down. Now generally, this is the thing I struggle with. I generally try to lift my head. You've got to really learn to relax the neck. So the neck is taking the weight of the head, which is generally about 7 or 8 pounds. And then put your hands into the crease of the elbow and draw down, and then just draw little semicircles. And you think we've been here about 10 or 12 minutes, so if you've got any niggles in the morning, you could just choose an area and maybe to take 2 or 3 minutes just to make sure that it's nice and warm. And the more you do, if you're feeling stiff in the morning, the more stretching and the more movement and mobility you do, you've got something called synovial fluid that will then go into the joint when it starts to move to help with its lubrication, and then you'll feel a little bit looser and it'll help with the stiffness in the morning. In the centre, drop down, hold. Now bend your knees slightly to take the pressure off the lower back and uncurl. And there we are, take a breath. So you should feel a little bit freer now. If you do, please leave me a comment. If you want to join us in any of my beginners sessions next week and you've never done a class with me and you don't even know if you like me yet or not, then let me know and I'll put you in for free and you can just have a little taster class. Let me know. And if these are helpful, if you need anything in particular working on, let me know. I'll be back next week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I'll be making events on Facebook so you can join in, and then that way you'll get reminders, and I'll just be coming live on Instagram. All right then, don't forget to post your questions, any comments, any feedback. I love coming back into the group and having a little look what's been going on. All right, have a lovely weekend, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you shortly. Bye.